Well, hello lovely humans, and welcome back to my channel and to a new series on my channel called Move With Me, which may or may not only have one, oh jeepers, we're already low on battery? Goodness gracious, I can't get anything together. Which may or may not only be a one episode series, depending on how stressed out I get by all this. We'll find out together, shall we? So in today's video, I figured I'd kind of share with y'all how I like to pack. And while I know everyone has different methods and different ways that they put things together, I figured I'd share with y'all how I pack and get my family to move from house to house. Now, we've done this a handful of times already, but never halfway across the country. So it's a little bit different this time, but most of my methods have stayed the same. So we're gonna talk about where I get started, what I use, how I organize, how I pack, and then we'll toss in some of the Mama Robin tips at the very, very end. My mom is a masterful organizer. She's really, really good at this stuff. And she's constantly saying these things to me all the time as like a gentle but constant reminder to continue moving forward. So I figured I'd take some of my mom's wisdom and share it with you guys as well. I'm also gonna take off this scrunchie because that's gonna be really annoying watching this back in editing every time I lift up my hand, having a scrunchie on my wrist. So without further ado, let's just jump right on into it without scrunchies. Darling, so where to get started? Where I get started when it comes to packing is my least favorite thing to pack. But it's also the easiest thing to pack, and that's decor. So that means the first thing that I do is I run around my house and I start sweeping knickknacks off shelves and pulling things off the walls. I don't like doing this personally because then it immediately makes everything feel really weird. Like when your decor is not in its normal place, you feel kind of weird about it. But I also view it as a great reminder of what is coming. So if there's some naked walls in the home, it reminds me that we have a move coming, and sometimes it makes me anxious and sometimes it spurs me into action. But for the most part, it makes me always aware of what we're doing, and decor is something I can sadly live without for a few weeks. The next thing that I like to do is I love to purge as much as possible. Now, of course, right now, thanks to the Rona, purging is a little bit more difficult because a lot of people have been taking a lot of things to thrift stores, which means a lot of places are not accepting donations. So we're really kind of struggling with that, but it's not stopping me. I did have a little like pop-up shop in our house this last weekend that was extremely successful, and I was able to send home a lot of stuff with a lot of wonderful, wonderful people. I think Elias has gone to the thrift store like 4 or 5 times and only been able to drop off a load twice. So a lot of trips and just being turned away because they're full. Usually the second thing that I do. And that does mean that I did cut down on quite a bit of clothing. I got rid of bags and bags and bags of clothes, which breaks my heart because y'all know I love to express myself through the art form that is thrifted clothing. A lot of it went to my sister though, so I'm excited that it's staying in the family. But I did purge a bunch of clothes. I purged a bunch of books and decor items, and then miscellaneous things like towels and blankets that like we just don't need. Yeah, those are gone. And then the third thing that I will do is I will actually cut down the amount of clothes that I have available either for me or for the kiddos. I imagine it as if we are living out of a suitcase for a couple weeks. You know, we're going on a little trip, fun little trip. It's a vacation. We're not packing up our whole house. No. So it's like going on vacation without the actual vacation. But if I can get myself down to a moving house capsule wardrobe, then it makes it a lot easier to, 1, get ready in the morning, and 2, manage laundry. So I just pack as many clothes as I can, as quickly as I can, so that I'm not doing a lot of laundry. All of us have a really easy time getting dressed. And then of course you get the accomplishment of having a lot of stuff packed. What I use, I am a sucker for nice packing tape. Like nice packing tape. The cheap stuff makes no sense to me because then you need to do 2 to 3 passes to secure a box that would take 1 pass with the nice tape. I have gone cheap before, and I have watched items spill up out the bottom of a moving box, and you do not want that to happen to you, and I am certainly not wanting that to happen with this move, so I tend to invest in nicer packing tape. I also have no shame when it comes to using old moving boxes. None whatsoever. I like the nice tape, but I'll use the old boxes all day. For example, there's this one. And this was previously used for the girls' room to move them from our home in Orange County to here in Marietta. But since the girls' room is entirely packed, yes, do I say that again? The girls' room is entirely packed. You can clap now. Thank you. But since the room is entirely packed, we are clearly not going to be using this box for any of their stuff. But I want to reuse it because there's nothing wrong with it. perfectly fine. I just wanna make sure that whatever space we're using it for or items we're using it for, that this is super legible when we're shuffling boxes in and out of the house. This is where like my moving nerd comes out, okay? Like I get really nerdy about this. This is when I splurge on the nice Sharpies, okay? I have 2 different Sharpies that I use when we move. One is this, hold on. One is this big, gigantic, I mean like it's huge. It's huge. I personally love using these because on something like this, let's see if I can do this backwards in the camera. Can I do this? When you're reusing old boxes and you just lightly scribble through a word, your eye doesn't know where to land. You're like, is that the correct room, or is that just scribbled over? I can't quite tell what's going on. And I know I probably look super buff. I'm aware of that. But when you're holding a super, super heavy box, you need to be able to quickly read the box so you can get it to the right room as fast as possible. Because I know not all people are as buff or as strong as I am, so you're gonna wanna make sure that it's really legible. But also, so the kids can read it really easily, so my husband doesn't have to ask me 82 times where a box goes. No sir, no ma'am. I'm gonna make it really easy. I'm gonna make it foolproof, so nobody has any questions. So let me show you what I do. I will take the large Sharpie and black out the previous location. Now normally it ends up being a little bit more square-like. I can't tell if it is. Yeah, that's fine, cool. Now I don't normally have to do so many swipes with that, but because I'm doing it backwards in a weird spot through the camera, I'm basically making excuses for myself, okay? So that way there's no confusion for the boxes and where they go. And then I follow it up with this kind of Sharpie, or you know, just one with a more chiseled tip, so I can write in big, bold letters the new room that it's going into. We've all seen those signs for a lemonade stand or a car wash that's written in a really, really skinny marker and it's kind of hard to see from far away. I don't know why that's the best analogy, but it works perfectly for something like this. Again, when you're holding a heavy box, you want to see very quickly where it goes. So I like to write it with a big, bold Sharpie. And because I don't know where this is going just yet, I'm not gonna write anything here because then I'm just gonna have to black it out again. But this is what the big, bold Sharpie ends up looking like. So it's very fast and very easy to see. So I think I could safely say I'm not necessarily the most organized person in the world. I tend to be on the messy side of things, but I do get really stressed out when my life feels like it's turned upside down, which of course inherently comes along with moving. So I like to set up zones around my house where things are supposed to be going. If you saw last week's video, then you of course know that like the front room is where I was putting all the selling stuff, and the dining room is where we're putting all of the boxes. We also have the bonus room as the designated space for all of the weird shaped long items that won't fit into a box that were upstairs. So they're all piled up against each other in one section of the bonus room. And then we cleared a spot in our garage for everything that we're donating so it can be really, really easily put into the back of a car and hopefully dropped off at a thrift store somewhere, hopefully. Luck is not on our side with that one though. I find that doing this, one, helps to keep everything organized and less crazy all around the house, and two, helps me to feel a lot more productive. Because when I watch that wall of boxes get taller and taller and then we start building a second layer of boxes, I feel like a champion and I feel like I am packing so much and making so much progress. When I watch our donation pile grow, I feel so good about it, and it helps to keep the rest of the areas as clutter-free as possible. The key part of that term is as possible because it's most assuredly not clutter-free. It's still crazy everywhere. But at least when I do decide to clean up or move things around, they have a place to go to. Now let's talk about how I pack, because this is the riveting content y'all showed up here for, right? I'm a massive fan of using boxes. Just absolutely love moving boxes because they have shape consistency, which means, especially with our big trailer that we purchased recently, we can almost guarantee that things are gonna fit really well into it because they're boxes. Anything that's a weird shape, obviously that won't fit, is not gonna fit, and that's okay. But I want to get as many things into a box as possible because it makes our loading up the trailer and packing more predictable. I also prefer to use small boxes as often as possible as well. Because again, with the super buff thing, I am super buff, but I also like to super pack boxes. So if you give me a large box, I'm gonna put too much in it. And then I won't be able to carry it, and the kids won't be able to carry it. And then we're gonna have to pawn it all off on my husband, which now that I'm saying all that out loud, would have made a lot more sense to put them all in large boxes and be like, I can't pick it up, babe, I'm so sorry. But because we like to all be hands-on in moves like this, when they're small, they're a heck of a lot less likely to be too heavy for myself to carry or for the girls to carry. We use mostly small and some medium boxes. For the medium-sized boxes, I stick to only clothes, large decor items that may or may not take up a lot of space, and stuff like blankets and towels. So the heavier, denser items go in small boxes, or you know, even if they're not heavier or dense, most of them go in small boxes, and only large and or light items go in the medium boxes. Just so we can carry them a lot more easily, and so I don't overload them. I also do this thing where when I'm partway through a box, I will lift it up to test how heavy it is, and so I kind of know when to cut myself off. If I can't lift it up, then I probably should either remove stuff from it, or I should stop there and not add anything else, and just write it off as an Elias box and make him do it. I've also been really cheap about moves before. I like using what I have. So instead of going out and buying like single-use bubble wrap, which costs more money, and obviously again is single use, I oftentimes will wrap stuff in like towels or blankets, because all we need is a little bit of cushioning on the outside of something to make sure it doesn't break in transit. So while this time we did get some bubble wrap for some of our items, which felt like the splurgiest of splurge things for me, I still tend to go towards my my cheapy ways and frugal ways and clever ways by using towels and blankets to protect glass and or ceramic items. And also for our plates, I used the kids' plastic plates as like dividers between the glass plates. Between the ceramic plates, I mean. So it went ceramic plate, kids plate, ceramic plate, kids plate, ceramic plate, kids plate. I mean, it's not conventional, but it's better than like individual pieces of cardboard between each one. That doesn't make any sense when I could just use the plates. So now for Mama Robin's tips, because without her sage wisdom and knowledge and advice, this would be a whole lot more of a messy experience. My mom says to always pack X amount of boxes a day. And for me, in my mind, it has been about 5 boxes a day. Now, there are times when I don't quite hit 5 boxes a day, and I do 1 or 2. And there's times when I do 7 boxes a day. And there's days where I don't pack a single box at all whatsoever, okay? But if I set the goal of 5 a day and I miss that goal, then the next day I might go a little bit harder. So it's just about doing consistent work instead of waiting all to the last minute, because that is 100% just not my style. Mama Robin tip number 2, always fill your trash can. If you guys have been around here for a minute, then you know that like we are definitely making changes to be a lot more sustainable in a couple of areas of our lives, just to do our part. We may not be doing it perfectly, but we are most certainly trying. You also know that I love thrifting and donating to thrift stores as well. But inevitably, when a family of 5 has lived in a home for longer than 6 months, and we've been here for quite a few years now, trash is going to collect up in places, and that's regular trash and recycling. My mom's always been an advocate of, when you're moving, do not waste a trash opportunity. So for me, that does mean that I have bags in various locations around the house, just trash bags. If I see something, I just toss it in. That helps us to get our home cleaner sooner and helps our trash to stay a lot more organized, because then we're not moving out of the house and leaving 7 trash bags behind. So always fill your trash can if you can, of course, with the things that are only trash, and then donate the stuff that needs to be donated and recycle the stuff that needs to be recycled. Next Mama Robin tip is don't feel like you have to close a box. There is an open box in every room of this house. In every single room. There's an open box in Silas's room, in the girls' room. There's like 2 open boxes in my room. There's an open box sitting right in front of me right now. They're literally everywhere. And while it does make me feel a little bit unsettled because it's not clean and done and put away, the girls have been at my parents' house for a few days, and you would not believe the amount of just knick-knack toys or single socks that I'm finding all around the house. And that's not just the girls. I mean, of course they're kids, so they're gonna leave stuff everywhere. That applies to our stuff as well. So there are quite a few boxes that I will just leave open, and when I find something, I will go put it into one of my boxes, one of Elias's boxes. So it is a good idea to leave a box open for those last minute finds that you get. And it's okay to have a last minute box. I will probably have at least 7. Because as efficient as I'm trying to be, I know what's gonna happen when we start moving couches, really diving deep into that pantry. I know we're gonna have so many last minute boxes. And then last but not least, my mom's last tip for me that I'd love to share with you guys is pretend your move date is a week before your actual move. And that might sound a little bit ridiculous. And when she says that, I'm like, Mom, but I need that extra week. And she's like, of course. Of course we need that extra week. But if you are consistent and grind and push yourself hard enough, you could have so much done. So last week, ideally, you are just wrapping up boxes and doing some general cleaning around the home instead of last minute packing all of these bulk items that you probably should have handled a couple weeks prior. So that's all we have for today, folks. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're in the process of moving, hopefully this gave you a couple of tips. Pretend you're going on a vacation and pack as many clothes as you possibly can. Purge, get that decor off those walls. Get the nice tape and the cool Sharpies, but reuse those old boxes. If staying organized helps your brain as much as it does mine, definitely set up zones around your house to make sure you are as organized as possible. Use small boxes as often as you can, and don't be afraid to wrap something in a towel. If you haven't done so already, jump on down there, hit that subscribe button to hopefully see more of this series. Maybe not. I don't know. If you have some moving tips though, leave those in the comments below so we can all just kind of help each other out. And maybe you can help me out a little bit because I could use all the help I could get. And until next time, bye guys. Plant update. We decided to saran wrap some of the larger plants to keep the leaves together. This one's been wrapped as well, just very gently. Yeah, buddy?
Mama's car is so big.
Mama's car is so big. Moving with houseplants.